All right, real quick. We don't have time to cover the entire sort of Trump's blatherfest, his cabinet meeting, which is really just a PR stunt. But I haven't watched all of it, but I saw a clip of RFK's sort of input, and there's a big part of this, by the way, that like they really are just doing this so that he can announce the phase one of the Gaza deal, the Israel Gaza deal, which, by the way, is the same deal offered last year by the Biden administration, except the potential for a two-state solution is more vague. That's all. And there's been 9 months of bombing. So they it literally was like, okay, we'll agree to it, but let us bomb for a little while longer, is effectively what we saw. It's just stupid. But like, hey, it's finally working. No, it isn't. They finally run out of places to flatten. So anyways, this is RFK Jr. I think this might be the part where he blames circumcision for autism.
Good job. Thank you very much. Bobby, did you want to say something? You got a lot of things happening.
You seem twitchy over there.
A lot of very positive things, actually.
Yeah, a lot of great stuff. By the way, how's that health treatment you've been trying out? What is it? Laying on on one of those rolling hot dog things at 7-Eleven and letting it turn you under the light?
Mr. President, I'm glad you're getting bipartisan accolades on the Mideast Peace Agreement. You should also get bipartisan accolades on the MFN agreement. It is a historic agreement that's going to benefit every hardworking American. It's going to lower the price of drugs for every American.
Trump doesn't know what the MFM agreement is. You could tell because when he said it, like normally anybody gives you credit for anything, he'll just start nodding. Like, you know, a lot of people don't give me credit where I credit. He's like, the what now? Now, in his defense, he has trouble with accents, so God help him in trying to understand what the fuck RFK Jr. is saying.
By the time this administration is over, we will have...
Now, do you mean when Vance takes over and is driven from office like the clown that he is? Or when they wheel Trump out? Like, what do you mean by ends? By the time it's over?
95% of the drugs in this country will be the lowest price in the world. It immediately begins to affect Medicaid, Medicare.
Yeah, 95% of the drugs that are out there are not prescription drugs. 95% of drugs are over the counter that people take. They're already, you know, I mean, except Tylenol, obviously, which no one should take. Never take Tylenol.
Social Security, the other...
Especially if you've bought a home circumcision kit and gone to work on yourself. And, you know, just suck it up. All right.
Programs. I remember when I went through the confirmation process, and the principal preoccupation of the Democrats during that process was whether I would continue the IRA negotiations on drugs. The Democrats negotiated 10 drugs. I'm supposed to negotiate every year 15. The 10 that they negotiated, they claimed to get a 22% reduction, but it was a lie. It was 22% under the list price, which was actually higher than the price we were getting. So Medicaid, Medicare ended up paying more for those drugs.
Yeah, it's because Republicans won't let Medicaid, Medicare negotiate. That they've been fighting it until Trump came in. And again, can I point out one thing? That the sort of populist seizing of the idea that we should allow Medicaid, Medicare, and Medicare specifically to negotiate the price of drugs has been something Democrats have been pushing for a long fucking time, is it not? This has been something Democrats have been like. I don't have my screaming goat. I'll go. It's in the other room. We've been talking about this for a long time, and Republicans are the ones who have run against it and stopped it in its tracks. So if Trump implements it now, I would like to say that is because they have surrendered. Let's be clear. The Trump administration has surrendered to the Democrats on the issue of letting Medicare negotiate the price of drugs. Yes, for decades, Democrats have been doing this. It's the winning proposition. It's the obvious choice of how it should be done. It was a Democratic idea that Republicans ran against. So the idea that Trump is suddenly like the winner in this, or he's suddenly done something, is that what he has done, let's be abundantly clear, is surrendered to the idea that Democrats have been talking about for decades, because it's the only option. It's the only thing that will work. Democrats, guess what? You won. And every time he goes, we're negotiating prices down and setting all this. Yes, that's what Democrats have been pushing to do forever. And the only people against it were Republicans, and now they have to be for it because this asshole can't think of a way to bring down prices because he does not have a health care plan. Has it been 2 weeks yet?
They were paying beforehand. They only got a benefit on one drug. One was tied. 8 of them were lower. So they should be applauding what we're doing now. We're doing something that...
Yeah, why? You're doing something that Democrats have called for a long time. You're running up against the same hurdles. The only difference is this time around, the only thing that's different is like pharmaceutical companies have pushed back against this. Like healthcare alliances have pushed back. Insurance companies have pushed back against this. The only thing that was insurmountable was Republican opposition, and now they can't.
Every administration, Democrat and Republican, has been saying that it was going to do for decades, and you
Nope. Republicans have absolutely not.
got it done because you understood the power of the tariffs.
That's why they're doing it, because of tariffs.
We had leverage over these companies, and you did it in a way which you asked us to do, to negotiate in a way that was not going to stifle innovation, that was going to make sure that those companies could bring their production home, and they are doing that.
Yes, all the ways Democrats have been talking about this for a long time. Like Biden literally post-COVID signed a bill to move to reshore the manufacture of crucial medicines in the United States. That's where these factories are coming from. That's part of the reason why the prices are going to come down or why they can even make it available. So fuck off.
And
By 2 weeks, are you referring to Earth time or God time? Well, that's a good point. So that would be... Earth was created in 7 days. It was 6 days with a day of rest because it's exhausting. So, yeah, double eternity would be that. Yeah, we're not quite there yet.
it was a profound success. It will affect every American for 100 years. And you should be getting bipartisan accolades on that. I'll say one other thing about Tylenol, only because of this. This morning before I came in here, somebody showed me
a circumcised penis
TikTok video of a pregnant woman, 8 months pregnant. She is an associate professor at the Columbia Medical School, and she is saying F Trump and gobbling Tylenol with her baby in her placenta.
Her baby's in her placenta? Well, I think she's got bigger fish to fry than Tylenol. If it's in the placenta. Was she in a car accident? Did she lean over a food processor while cooking in the nude? Okay. Babies grow up inside the placenta. All right.
And the level of Trump derangement syndrome has now left political landscapes, and it is now in the realm of...
Now it's on TikTok? Really? So it's crazy videos on TikTok? You nut-picking asshole. So that's what everybody's doing. Everybody's just fucking taking, Tylenol they don't need, which no doctor would recommend on the regular. That's half the voters. By the way, Trump is just upset that there's a TikTok video with somebody saying F Trump and it hasn't been taken down by the Chinese.
Pathology. And a mother could overwhelm millions of years of maternal instinct to put her baby at risk. And
Yeah, that's not what she's doing. She thinks your assertion is fucking ridiculous. She does not believe, and again, she doesn't believe that taking Tylenol is going to harm her baby, her unborn child, or give it autism. You fucking moron. She does not believe you. So here's the thing. Trump derangement syndrome is a problem, apparently, right? That's the idea. Well, then, how about take some responsibility for how you rolled this dipshittery out, and that you outsourced it to the fucking president to start giving medical advice to people. Maybe it's your fucking fault that people are reacting that way. How about that? Because the masses aren't, and it's fucking TikTok. So eat shit.
all you have to do is look at the studies which you and I talked about. It's not dispositive that cause autism.
It's not dispositive, right? Right. But Trump said it was. And that a fever, an out of control fever that a woman has while she's pregnant could very well damage the fetus. Right? That's dispositive. That's actually true. Is there any question that an out of control fever in a pregnant woman could have a negative impact on her unborn child? You tit.
It is so suggestive that anybody who takes this stuff during pregnancy, unless they have to, is irresponsible. There are 15 rodent studies. Every one of them shows.
15 rodent studies? Well, did the woman have very pronounced teeth in the front? She looked like a character from Ratatouille.
If you give it to the mother, the babies, and particularly the male babies, have profound neurological and behavioral changes. There is a study from Johns Hopkins on cord blood where they divided women into 3 categories: those who had the least acetaminophen in their cord blood, and those who had the most. The ones with the most had 3.6 times the rate of autism in their children.
Maybe that's because the women that took acetaminophen had more fevers, and therefore their immune system was maybe impacting on their child while it was in utero, not in the placenta, obviously, when it was in the actual uterus, where it's not important right now, obviously, but perhaps that's correlative to the condition that you would need to take the acetaminophen in the first fucking place. Just a thought. Maybe the women who didn't have any in their cord blood didn't have fevers or pain that they needed to take it for. What the fuck? What an asshole.
Middle category had 2.2 times, so it's a dose-related response. And there are dozens of studies that show the countries that use...
Look at Trump. I figured it out. You and I talked about this 20 years ago, and I had figured it out. And I just, I didn't want to tell anybody because I was on The Apprentice, and, blah, blah, blah. Has anybody noticed that he's turning into Tony Clifton more by the day? He makes more faces now because he notices that the side of his face is drooping. So,
the most at the highest level of autism. Cuba has the lowest level in the world of acetaminophen use, and it has the lowest autism rate in the world. So
what's the survival rate of children that are born developmentally disabled in any way in Cuba? Is there a tendency to keep them alive in any form? They have any other form? Or are they institutionalized or put away, or they don't call it autism? That's the other thing. For a long time, it wasn't called autism. They were just called retarded or special or mentally challenged or mentally incapacitated.
This is not dispositive. It is not proof. We're doing the studies to make the proof.
Well, then how about wait till you have that proof before you start telling people who might have a fever to not treat it while they're pregnant, you fucking moron.
But in the meantime, the precautionary principle should apply. And any mother who is taking this stuff during pregnancy just to get back at Donald Trump.
Of which there is one on TikTok who is apparently indicative of all you bitches carrying babies. By the way, this is the same crowd that thinks that women want to have an abortion in the first day of the 10th month. Oh, look at this. Hold on.
Is doing something.
Hold on. We have guests. Hi, guys. Do I have both of them coming in here to say hi? What's it doing?
Say hi.
The cats have decided to make. Hi. Yeah.
Potty time.
Okay. Chipples. Come on, Chipples. Hold on. Hi, Bucky. What's going on, man? What's going on, man? Hi.
Peter River.
Oh, God. Always a big boy. Always a big monster man. It's Chippleton. It's the bigger Chipples. Hi, buddy. You okay? How you doing? You wanted to make a visit? You want to tell everybody, say hi? Hello. It's Big Chipples. There's a Chippleton. What's happening, Chippleton? Huh? What's going on, buddy? You okay? I'm going to be covered in fur as soon as I put you down, Mr. Sheds a Lot. He's a chunker, yeah. He looks a lot smaller on the ground, don't you, buddy? He looks a lot smaller on the ground when he's stretched out, but when you frump him up, he looks... It's not becoming, okay? It's not becoming. I get it. Here you go, buddy. Hold on. I'll set you down. And Bucky's just upside down. Give it your boy. What's your boy? Hello, Mr. Floppy. Look at this floppy boy. Look at this. Look at Mr. Floppy. He just hangs out. Look how big Bucky's getting. He's turning into a cat. What's he doing? How's he doing? He gets so relaxed right out of the gate. Look at this. Look at this, buddy. Hold on, move over this way where you can see him. Here's a boy. Here's a boy. Here's a boy. Uh-oh, she's going upstairs. That mean treat time? Is it time to get a treat? Is it time to get... He's looking your direction. He's like, this treat's coming. There you go. Okay. Watch out. He's coming your way. Hi. We needed a cat moment. I think in the middle of all this, I think the fates intervened because we needed a cat. We needed a cat moment, right? Okay. So let's get back to where we were, ladies and gentlemen. Back to the great Gonzo, or the not so great Gonzo, I guess I call him. So, yeah, here we go. Oh, you need a roller demo? Hold on one second. Bow, wow, wow, wow. I can feel it, honey. This is my OnlyFans. Just me petting cats and then lint rolling myself. What's up? How you ladies doing? Anyways, you know, I like bringing my girl coffee in the morning, and I like giving her foot massages, you know, and then I like a lure that treats me right and then wants a little hair tug now and again. Mm-hmm. All right, there you go. And scene. Now, back to the not-so-great Gonzo. Look at Trump. All right.
Is pathological. And we're seeing that across the board. I got a lot of other stuff to talk about, but I know we got a short time here. But thank you, Mr. President. You're making our country healthier again.
Thank you.
By being such a divisive prick that people are ill-advised medication just to get back at you because you're such an asshole.
Could you just say, for the record, state what the autism was, let's say, 20 years ago and what it is today?
Oh, dear.
In 1970, the largest...
I don't think 1970 was 20 years ago, but...
epidemiological study in history was performed. 900,000 kids were looked at. They were looking for autism in.
What was the big word they used for mentally challenged kids in 1970? Anybody remember? It's one of the right's favorite words. Yeah? Yeah, that's right. Yeah, there you go. Yep, that's what they used to call them. That's why there were fewer autistic people, because 80% of them were called retarded by these people. Dumbass.
Wisconsin children. They looked at every child in Wisconsin who was 8
Well, it's Wisconsin, though.
years old. They found an autism rate of 0.7 per 10,000.
Yes. Was Ed Gein one of them? Did they... Was there any... What were they considering Ed Gein at that time? What would you have classified him as at that point in history? Probably not autistic.
So almost close to 1 in 20,000, less than 1 in 10,000. Today, the autism rates are nationally 1 in 31, but it's actually much worse than that because California, which has the best collection system, reports an autism rate of 1 in every 19 children, 1 in every 12.5 boys.
All right. Horse shit. Like, again, autism spectrum disorder or being on the spectrum for the entire cascading element of what it's diagnosed as. There's no fucking way that there are 2 autistic kids in every classroom in California. Get the fuck out of here. And certainly not to the category that they're talking about. Non-responsive, walking on their toes, all that kind of stuff. It's just fucking dumb. There is not. It's absurd. Right. That like ADHD is considered on the spectrum of autism. ADD, without the hyperactive part, considered on the spectrum by some people. So no. God damn, this is so fucking lazy. No, it isn't. There's no fucking way that on average you get 60 kids in a room, you're going to have 4 severely autistic kids in there, or that, you know, even autistic to the level that they need help in life. It's just fucking ridiculous. Yeah, it's not, yeah. And again, yeah, it's not autism if that many people have it. It's a variant in the gene pool that exists, apparently.
It's a national security issue. There is nothing more important, and I'm grateful to you, Mr. President, because you know the.
It's like Trump's looking around the room, counting the people in the room and trying to guess who's autistic. Oh, God. Shout out to the neurospices, right?
Take freedom.
Do you know how, like, okay, fuck this. First of all, let's talk a little bit about the over-categorization and the over-medicalizing, of normal human behavior. I've said for a long time that before you tell me there is a disorder, you gotta show me the order. Right? You gotta determine that there's an order. And then you have to, for a disorder, it has to be a variance from the order that's regularly expected that is counter to the order. Meaning that it leaves you in such a form that you cannot function at all within the order. That's what makes it a fucking disorder. Otherwise, it's just another part of the order, you fucking morons. And so the broadening out of the definition of this, in an attempt, by the way, to help people who are not disordered, but are neurodivergent enough that they might need, help socially at some point, and it could be a myriad of fucking reasons why you would have that aren't genetic or biochemical. Slather that out onto so many ways of being. Yeah, the idea of the spectrum, while good-hearted, can be counterproductive in this situation Because this asshole is looking for a way, A, to write off, you know, 1 in 19 fucking kids forever. Apparently, they're so damaged they could never work as they'll never be a lawyer or an FBI agent or as a soldier or whatever the fuck. Is this asshole think that in the last 30 years, they have had to turn down 1 in 20 potential recruits because they're fucking autistic? Like, get the fuck out of here. It's pathetic. We just got out, like, these assholes will clamor about how, like, vaccination, just let the disease roll through you. We don't need a measles vaccine. Just get it, and then once it's gone, you've had it, and you're fine, right? If it kills off a certain segment of the population, getting it through everybody, natural immunity's always better. Right? They're fine with just like, we don't have to, you're over-medicalizing fucking contagious disease. But they're not going to factor, like, how broad the spectrum is now defined to the point where it encompasses any artistic person I've ever worked with, you know, any coder. Like, is there a single person working at Google right now that by the broadest fucking standards wouldn't qualify as on the spectrum? Anybody who's got hyperfocus, holy shit. Like, if I sit down and start working on something, I can't hear anything. Like, short of a fire alarm, I get, like, I'll get focused on what I'm working on, and somebody might have to say my name 3 times before I break out of it. Because I'm interested, focused on what I'm doing. It's not an illness. It's just how my brain functions to get really complicated shit done. And the more complicated life gets, the more you're going to breed people, literally in life, that have to narrow their fucking focus so tightly so they can get shit done. Because what they're working on is so much more complicated than grog bang rocks together. Like, finishing a fucking song. Like, you want to see what I put together 2 days ago? Son of a bitch. See if I can, I'm going to have to unplug it, so it won't work, but... Shit. I'm back here. I'll be out in a second. Oh, it's green, so you won't be able to see it. It's a fucking robot arm. Sure, it came in a kit, and you can buy it already done. But I wanted to build it so I would know how, like, all the parts work. It's got a fucking visual sensor on top of it and a gripper. It runs on a fucking nano, like a Jensen Nano board. It's got a fucking multi-directional mic on top of it. It's got a touch screen so you can interact with it without having to hook it up to another fucking computer. And it's like, I'll hook it up at some point and we'll show it on screen on my other setup in the other room. But I built a robot arm. Okay. That's just, I'm putting it back. I'm behind the green screen now. That's after, you guys will recall, I put this fucking thing together, which is the little dongle so I can run speakers and a microphone into it that's separate than the thing built on it so that I can, I'm going to put it on wheels, I think. But that's not important. There's a Jensen Nano in here, the NVIDIA, small computer board. Computer board. Where I think I have a Trump thing that says computer board. Because he said it at one point because he didn't understand what the fuck they were talking about.
Computer board.
There you go. It was it's a Jensen Nano. Yep, it's the dev kit, and I installed it in one of these things so that I could use it off that. And like when I'm working on shit like this, you almost have to wrap me on the head with something to get my attention. Okay, really. Ask Summer. Holy shit. Like her patience sometimes when I'm like reading or focused on something, because whoop. But that's how it has to be, or I would never fucking finish it. The world is full of so many distractions. You almost have to be hyper focused to get shit like that done. Time has changed in that regard. Our life experience, we're like, there's so much overstimulation that you almost have to retract your sensors, you know, your hearing and your visual cues and stuff to just get shit done with all the fucking blah, blah that life is doing nonstop, right? That's ADHD. As not quite. Again, because I have a problem with the D. And also, it's not an attention deficit if my attention is hyper-focused on something. Right? I don't have an attention deficit. I'm literally blocking out anything that isn't what I'm working on. That's the opposite of attention deficit. I'm not hyperactive because I'm working patiently. It takes a lot of fucking slow movement and patience. Right? And it's not a disorder, goddammit. I'm just saying, if I started like not going out to dinner with the family or not talking to my girlfriend or my kid or whatever, like then it'd be a disorder. But obviously I have a window of time I work on it. I set that time aside and I do it. But while I'm there, I'm locked in. And it just requires that. Variable attention, stimulation, something. Okay, that'll work. Yeah, it's called concentration, exactly. But yeah, it's a feature, not a bug. It still can be ADHD? I don't know. I'm sure somebody would call it that, and I would say to that person, fuck off. It's how it's a fucking difference how diverse and beautiful of how humanity thinks. I know, that's my point. So and the weird part is that if you cornered RFK Jr. maybe fucking 8 years ago, he would tell you that we are over-diagnosing, especially kids, especially, quote, the neurodivergent. Because I would argue that they're not divergent at all. It's just a variance in thinking patterns that are natural to the human condition. And again, to be neurodivergent, there has to be a unique way that everybody else thinks. He would absolutely say that, you know, that we've over-medicalized kids and we were handing out Ritalin. Remember that shit? It's a neurotype. This is just me being persnickety about this, but to be a neurotype, there has to be a categorical variation in neurotypical and neuroatypical behavior. And I don't know that there have been like, hey, let's just do a broad study. Does everybody think the same way? Right? Do we have a generalized spectrum of problem solving that everybody naturally does, and if you don't, and you don't to the level that it makes you incapable of interacting with other people, then that would be technically neurodivergent and neuroatypical to the point of being a disorder. Otherwise, just fucking interact with people how they are. It's their personality. It's a mix of biochemistry, socialization, their experience, maybe even environmental factors of the food they ate when they were young and the, drugs they took or didn't take, right? The point I'm trying to make is that 10 years ago, RFK Jr. would have said that we're over categorizing people. He would have totally been on that bandwagon. And now he's just using this giant spectrum definition to be an asshole to claim that the problem is bigger than it is because that's his paycheck. His job, his raison d'etre in public life is explaining what causes this problem. Well, that's not sexy enough. It has to be everywhere. Other than that, I have no opinion.
Talking about this issue, you've shown courage and you've shown leadership
And you've shown blather and bullshit and yammered on about unconfirmed medical studies to the point where women are probably going to, if they listen to you, get a fever that has like overrun their immune system to the point where it damages their fetus because you gave medical advice from the Oval Office based on correlation.
I can't thank you enough for letting me do this work.
Thank you. So think of that, 1 in 20,000, and now it's 1 in 12.
Sorry, 1 in 12. This asshole thinks that 1 in 12 children in this country is neurodivergent to the extreme where they can't interact with other people. That they're and I'm not even saying like, well, they, you know, because of this broadening of the spectrum. Every time RFK Jr. talks about autism, he talks about the extreme, nonverbal, rages, talking, like walking on the balls of their feet, all these kind of, major autistic symptoms, which, by the way, again, used to be categorized as retardation for years, along with deafness and dyslexia. But now, like, Trump thinks 1 in 12 people in the country are neurally atypical to the point where they can't function.
For boys, 1 in 18, 19 for girls. So obviously there's something that's artificially, I think, induced, something, whether it's the vaccines in terms of these.
Don't think, man. Makes my dick itch.
Massive vaccines that are twice the size of a jar like that.
No. That's not a jar. It's a glass, you fucking moron. It's a glass. It's not a jar. It's got a paper top on it. They put that there so that nobody doses you at your own fucking cabinet meetings. It's not a jar. It's a glass. And also, no, they do not put that much fluid into a baby when they get, what the fuck? No, just no, just no, just not at all. Look at Marco Rubio. Look at Pete Hegseth. They're both like, it's not a jar. Do I have to call it? I'll tell you what. Like, Marco Rubio's going, that's not a jar. Shit. Uh-oh. Yep, his brain's tapioca. It's like, Nobody's going to vote for J.D. Vance after all this shit. I might have a chance to run for president. That is not a jar. That's what Marco Rubio's thinking. Pete Hegseth is like, fuck, now I have to call every glass a jar. Like, forever. Now he's got to refer to every glass as a jar, otherwise Trump will get mad. That is a jar. Basically, it is a jar. What's a jar? Without a lid, it's basically a jar.
Of a glass of water like that, I mean,
there you go. At least he fixed it. All right.
A baby's body.
And no, they don't. No, they don't. They do not. No, they don't. They do not put that much. All right. This asshole thinks they're on an IV bag full of vaccines or some shit.
I've suggested get them in doses, get them in,
Yeah, this much of a glass. I'm a vaccines half full kind of a guy.
Maybe 20%, 30%, but smaller, not such a big. I think, that.
He's looking at the glass like it's really the measurement. Look at him. Like, that's a lot. That'd be a lot to put in a baby. I'm fine. Look, look at the good news. Think of the good news. All right? No one who sees him talking like this about a glass of water is going to think that I should take medical advice from this man. Yes.
Then we had certain recommendations, the MMR, take them separately. The measles is already separate now, and it works out.
No, it isn't. Chickenpox. You mean chickenpox, dipshit. Measles, mumps, and rubella. He never knows what rubella is. I want him to say it.
Much better, but there doesn't seem to be any impact if you take it separately. If you take it as a combination, it's not so great.
Why? Why? What's the problems with the MMR? What does it do? What's not so great about it? To make your mouth taste like Flintstones vitamins? Is that what it does? Jesus, it smells like. Anybody else smell pineapple? It's the MMR.
And some other things, but I would say don't take Tylenol.
Oh, this is. He's like a big part of this is his brain is jelly. He is fighting old fights from when he was younger. This happens when people start to go on the long fade. And the Tylenol story that broke, I think, what was it, 1980? Was in a window of time where he was like probably taking it if he had a headache or something like that and thought, oh shit, what else is poison? Like he had a panic about that stuff. Right? He's still remembering the Tylenol poisoning story as if that's part of the thing. Like, it's stuck in his brain like a fucking scratch in a record.
If you're pregnant and when the baby is born, don't give it Tylenol. If you can avoid it at all, just don't give it Tylenol.
I'll say
Really,
this
really,
also.
what do you have to lose? You really don't have much to lose. Yeah.
Yeah. What's the worst thing that can happen from 105 fever?
There's also there's many other confirmation studies. There's 2 studies that show children who are circumcised early have double the rate of autism.
TMI.
And it's highly likely because they're given Tylenol. Oh, none of this.
Excuse me. Some of us were told to just suck it up. I was circumcised, but I was not given Tylenol. My dad was just like, be a man. And I was like,
Is positive, but all of it is stuff that we should be paying attention
yes, you should be paying attention to circumcisions.
to.
But, there's a tremendous amount of
Sorry, what? Hold on. Somebody just scrolled through. I have a tremendous amount of what? You definitely have a shitload of Scots DNA in you, and I have, it's about all Neanderthal, about 4% Neanderthal. Yeah, absolutely. Neanderthal. Thanks. It's very sweet of you. It's nice of you to notice.
of proof or evidence, I would say, as a non-doctor, but I've studied this so
A non-doctor. That's how I define myself, by the things I ain't.
long time ago. I met Bobby in my office 20 years ago.
And you're like, what you packing there, big boy?
We were talking about the same thing 20 years ago. And
No, you were not.
I was a real estate developer. It bothered me that it seemed to be getting worse, but it's so bad now when you hear these numbers. It's not even really sustainable. I don't know how people do it, but there is...
How people do what? Keep their autistic children alive?
some very strong evidence on Tylenol. In fact, at one point, I guess the company gave a warning. They gave...
They still don't recommend it during pregnancy. That's the weird thing.
They're not recommending it, and that's the company itself. So...
They recommend it if you have a fever, if you need it. Like all medicines. They're not vitamins, motherfucker.
just don't take it. Don't take it.
Yes, by the way, RFK Jr. also flew on Epstein's plane a couple of times, at least, that we know of.
If you're a woman, don't take
And went to his house.
it, and don't give it to the baby when the baby's born, and I think that's going to have an impact. But I'd also get the shots in smaller doses. And There are a few things, we gave a few things that just seem to be, and I think you'd get that number way back up. Think of it. You have 1 in 20,000, and now it's not even believable
You're right. It's not even believable.
when you think that 20,000 drops to 12 children. So that's
No, there weren't 20,000 with autism, and now there's only 12. One in 12. The one is the number. The one in every 12, not 12. All right. Never mind. Go back to telling us how you're drinking out of a jar.
that's induced by something that's given or taken, and it should be able to be stopped. And you're talking about the Pennsylvania.
Excuse me, you are forgetting one thing, and that is the Lord. Maybe it's just part of God's plan.
You were talking
Bring in Paula White. Ask her what she thinks.
about the Amish, where they don't take any of this stuff, and they have virtually none, right? They have.
Because they kick out all their teenagers when they're a pain in the ass. Like virtually none.
No autism. No autism. So we're doing something very bad. Somebody's been given.
I blame phones. And I don't mean cell phones. I don't mean smartphones. I mean anything, even like the old-fashioned Western grinder.
Given some bad things. Other countries, by the way, we have, I think, we have 82 vaccines that we give simultaneously. And I'm a vaccine believer, by the way. I believe in the polio vaccine. I believe in a lot of vaccines.
Yeah, a lot of them. Polio and measles and what's the mumps and what's the other one? There's a third. All right.
But when you give 82 vaccines and a shot to a little baby that hasn't even formed yet.
Sorry, you're injecting this into a cluster of cells in the woman's placenta? Is that hasn't formed yet? Into what? Somebody you can sexually harass?
It's a lot of vaccines. And in Japan.
Rubio's like, God, get me out of here. What the fuck have I done?
And they give a much smaller number. In Germany, they give a much smaller, like 28 vaccines. That's a lot too. But 28's a lot different than 82. So, but I would say on the Tylenol, don't take it. And that will be, I think it's going to be a big factor. I think it'll be a very good result. And I hope we're going to be able to see that result in the not too distant future. Because certainly people have heard us loud and clear. That's why I bring it up again. That's why I asked you to talk about it. Because this is a horrible thing. And if you don't take it, I mean, you have to tough it through sometimes.
Yeah, ladies, stop being so weak. And all you dudes with the tip of your dick cut off, stop whining, you baby.
There are other things you can do, but you have to tough it out. It's easy for me to say.
Yeah, just pull the rest of the skin up, put a little like zip tie around it, and just hang out. Wait for it to crust over, flick off the scab, and get to work.
But I think you're going to see numbers that will be it'll be so significantly improved, and maybe fully improved. I mean, there's something there. There's something going on, and we have to address it. And so I'm addressing it the best I can as a non-doctor. But
as a non-doctor,
I'm a man of common sense.
That's right. I'm just a simple country doctor, Jim. All we need is for hold on, shit. All we need is for the Operation Fart Steed to work.
Captain's log.
All right.
Okay. Any other questions?
I'd like to comment on
Yeah,
the report.
please.
Mr. President, a lot of people are calling to give you the Nobel Peace Prize after this.
Oh, get out of here. No, they are not. I think a lot of people would actually, if they do think he deserves the Nobel Peace Prize, would want to see if whatever's going on actually takes. I mean, it's a nutty concept, but